Your impression about this week 7, please.
Week 6.
Or week 6 is it? Week 6. I'm sorry.
So this has been a very good week with the JACO group. Say that again, shall I? This has been a good week with the JACO group, working with the Institute of Classical Osteopathy. We've looked in quite a lot of detail at some important health issues. We've looked in through a more detailed approach to the neck, applied anatomy, and the results are very pleasing. It's been very good, and the standard of work and understanding is very good. It's been a very good week.
じゃあ2問目の質問は、
次のウィーク7に、行くにあたっての、僕らのその課題、次の、
What do the JACO member has to do to study week 7? What's our task? What area we should study?
Just keep studying. It's important just to keep studying the basic, the fundamental studies from the principles as laid down by the early osteopaths, understanding to a different approach to healthcare, understanding of treating the body as a unity, the idea of integration deep within the treatment on a physical, physiological level, and incorporating these ideas of applied mechanics, so understanding how the forces work in the body. To aim at something specific in terms of study is, in a sense, arbitrary. It's a process we need to continue with. Some of the materials I've given you this time, with understanding vase motion deeply is very important. To understand how the early osteopaths studied and researched and discovered the effects of the osteopathic lesion, how it actually works in detail in terms of the effects with the tissues, the changes, and then from that how we can actually begin to seriously interact with it. And this week we've looked at some of the ideas behind the treatment process, so how we can change the distribution of the blood force, how we can dissipate congestion in the infection disorders, how we can disperse the tension in the nervous system and the circulatory systems, like in the case of aborting an epileptic fit, that we can work quite simply and quite effectively, in my very limited experience, to just calm a condition down, to stop it actually arising in the first place. So the most important thing for the next week is to keep looking at the basics and keep trying to understand them at a deeper level, to study the anatomy as deeply, as closely as possible. Still made the emphasis that anatomy should be the first, second and last lesson in osteopathy, and we need to know it in that much detail. But equally, Little John gave us this foundation of a physiological basis of treatment, and we need to understand what that means and how we can interact with it.
The last question. We have a member who is going to take the week 2 course. Please send a message to those members.
For the week 2 course. For those about to study the week 2 course, it's very important that you get an understanding of the foundations of osteopathy, the very basic principles that osteopathy is based around a holistic understanding of the body, and body, mind, spirit, if you like, as well. that this approach to osteopathy gives a way to change, to adjust the harmony of the body systems. And in week 2 we go into a little bit more detail of how we can interact with the systems. We look into a little bit more of the historical evolution of the understanding of osteopathy, how the nervous system is very much involved in our work. We talk about the osteopathic centres, which is the sort of the spinal connections through to the organs. When Irvin Cole first started researching this osteopathic idea, he found a challenge, but he found it that what we were actually talking about was very similar processes to what was already established in neurology, in medicine, of the idea of referred pain. And so he explored from that idea, from that understanding, that we have very simple essential mechanisms that we can actually interact with, that our osteopathic lesion, the centre through the spine largely, is the centre of either a channel from the sensory side to a physical disturbance, or from a physical disturbance to the physiological side. Either way, it's centred in the middle. Irvin Cole spoke of the spinal cord as the neurological lens, the lens in a camera. We focus in the disruption, the disturbance, and it channels to a specific site, or what we would refer to as a path of least resistance. So it's good to get some preparation to think about those things. Perhaps read a little bit of Irvin Cole if anyone's translated into Japanese. And again, some of Little John's principles and the broad basis of the principles, understanding. Read them that way. And also look into the neurology. Do a study from any medical books, good medical books, the neurology of the cord, the sympathetic nervous system connection, the blood supply in and out of the cord. Look at Netto, particularly the pictures from Netto, and just explore anything that we can get hold of with Louisa Burns and her experiments, Little John's texts about the early research. All that kind of thing will give you a foundation to make week 2 very strong forward movement in the study.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.